Hey everyone, Brendan here, aka Cliff Jumper. I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine who runs an auto parts supply place for Italian cars. And we were kind of discussing how I have too many projects. It's a fact, I do. And today we are looking at one of the daily drivers. Two of the daily drivers, because we have to deal with an annoying problem that both of them are experiencing, and that is the dreaded check engine light has come on in relation to emissions related stuff. And we're looking at my son's 1.8T Jetta, and what we're going to be looking for is it's telling us through the VCDS codes that somewhere in the air injection system there is a small leak. And of course that can often be what we fixed the other week, which was the main hose leading in here, but we fixed it. It got past smog and it was fine for a couple of weeks, and then the code came back, a slightly different code that leads me to believe that there is another small leak somewhere in the system. So, not a big deal. I could take it to any auto repair place and have them do a smoke test and find out exactly where the leak is. But my wife's Sequoia turns out to have the same exact thing going on, where we're getting the check engine light code for, you guessed it, a small leak in the evaporation recovery system. It's the same on both of them. So rather than spend the $250 plus for two cars to get diagnosed, I went ahead and purchased a smoke testing tool, which we can use with the air compressor, which is over there, and plug it into each of these cars, and it will send smoke through the system, and wherever it pops out, well, that's our leak. So let's see how long it takes us to actually diagnose this problem.
Previously on Battlestar Galactica.
If you're not familiar with a smoke tester, it's kind of the same technology as you see in those fog machines for Halloween, or if you're involved in professional AV stuff, a haze machine. It's basically the same concept. It is a small heater with the smoke fluid in it, fog fluid, fog juice, whatever you want to call it. It's got a regulator, and this regulator is set to 1/2 PSI. So you run it into your air compressor system, it regulates it down to very low pressure, and then that sends the fog through into whatever convenient vacuum nipple you're going to use. I'm using one at the throttle body to feed it all the way through the intake, and it should pop out somewhere, hopefully in visible sight where we could see where it is. It's possible that it could be leaking anywhere all the way through all of this stuff, all the way back under the car, back to the fuel tank and all that. And I'm hoping that that's not going to be the case, but we're going to go ahead and see. So everything is all set up. We're going to flip it on, and it takes just a few seconds really for smoke to start going into the system. So I'm just going to pop this off here. Oh, look, we already have smoke coming out, and the longer it stays on, the heavier it concentrates. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it back on here. It can start filling up the system. This is not harmful to the engine. And using a strong flashlight, we'll start looking for anywhere around here where we may see smoke. Aha! Seeing smoke down in here. Yes. Heavy concentration in this area. So we're going to go ahead and see what we see. I'll lay the flashlight in here. This flashlight, you can see the smoke's getting really concentrated and thick. And oh, yep, I can see it right there coming out in a stream. We have located the hose. So perfect. Now I know which hose it is. trace that one back. It comes up to here. That's where it connects to. This is the offender, so it's coming off of this line and going down. And go ahead and turn off the smoke. You're not supposed to run the smoke for more than 3 minutes. You can overheat the little thing. So I'm going to go ahead and see down here. What are we hooked into? Okay, looks like all right, I have a good idea of what hose it is, and we will replace that. Great. So that's one car diagnosed in about 2 minutes. Cool. So let's see what we can do with the Sequoia here. Gonna look for the same thing. Now, my suspicion with the Sequoia is that it is not going to be under the hood. I suspect it is going to be a leak under here. All right, I am gonna see if we see where the magic smoke is coming out of this bad boy. So we've got the Sequoia, we are injecting smoke. And let's look and see where it might pop out. Oh, oh ho, we've got it. Smoke here. All right. That looks like it's around the fuel filler, so let's go ahead and pop that open and see what we see. Oh, hey. And is it actually coming out of the fuel tank? No, it's not coming out of the fuel tank. That's, I guess, good news. So we don't have a leaky fuel nozzle. Let's look up from underneath and see what we see. That's the only spot, but that is definitely passing smoke out, and it should not. So something in here is not happy. So we're gonna pull off the gasket and see what's going on. So it looks like I'm gonna need to remove this panel here, this plastic panel, in order to get in there and see what's going on around the fuel filler pipe. But obviously we've got our leak there. So I'm glad that we found the leak. Now I just gotta localize it and figure out, is it the fuel filler neck itself, or is there a bad valve? So sometimes on these projects, we arrive at the answer right away, like we did with the Jetta, which is great, and sometimes it's gonna require a little bit more work. So we're gonna come back on the Sequoia, take off that paneling, and hopefully we will be able to see what's going on. According to what I've been reading online, there is a valve in the evap recovery system that tends to go bad, and that could allow that leak back there in the system. And we just gotta maybe find that valve, test it, and replace it if that is the thing. But I'm gonna look and see exactly what is plumbing to where it is leaking from, and we'll go from there.
And on that terrible disappointment, it's time to say goodbye. We'll be back.